Well, it has been a huge week in the world of e-mountain bikes with the launch of the all-new Specialized Levo. And today's EMBN Show is brought to you from 3 different time zones as we go behind the scenes to chat with some of the key people behind this all-new bike. Well, folks, we are now joined by 2 of the culprits behind the Turbo Levo, or should I say the 2 talismans behind the Levo. They've been the backbone of Levo ever since it was launched 5 or 6 years ago. So, from West Coast, California, Joe Buckley, and from Switzerland is Marco Sonderegger. Talk about this bike then, guys. Now, it's no secret that you began working on it back in 2018, right? Or maybe, give us a bit of a background behind the bike and how long it's been in the mix and stuff like that, and some of the key decisions that needed making about wheel size and sizing and all that.
It started right after the Croatia launch, so I think that was like August or September of 18. And while we were all together for the launch, we just packed up, went back to Switzerland, emptied out the vans, and then picked up a bunch of different bikes and drove to Verbier. Spent a week riding bikes together, brainstorming, picking out things we liked, things we disliked, kind of just like a kind of current state of product evaluation with our competitors and our own stuff. And then that's kind of how we started with this bike. It's kind of the same process almost anytime you do a bike. You create this bucket of stuff that you throw all the stuff you want that bike to be into this bucket. And then kind of as you work through the development process, things may go in or come out of the bucket depending on what kind of roadblocks you may run into or discoveries you make while you're doing it. So like the 29 versus mullet style thing was something that we didn't necessarily start with, but along the way we explored it just because of limitations with the geos on 2.9 that we were hitting with, particularly with chainstay length. So we tested prototypes and stuff and got something we liked and decided, you know what, it's time to make a call to just go mullet style. So, and that happened.
Who makes the final call?
Well, it kind of depends. Marco and I work together pretty closely on these bikes, and Marco's responsible for the system part of it. So anything that's part of the E-system, he's got the final call. And then anything that's like a bike thing, like geo or wheel size, that's something I'd make the call on.
The good thing is we are almost all the times in having the same priorities or the same thinking all the time, most of the times, I would say. The mule to me was, that mule we built right after Croatia was not like a fake mule, not just taking a small wheel and putting it into a big frame. It was actually proper chainstays, a geometry adjust, even like making sure that we don't mess up with the suspension so badly. So it was like a proper thing, like something you can really test a wheel on. And not just like, let's just try a small wheel and put a small wheel in there. It was done proper. And that was quite opening how we rode different. We, of course, tried the other one too, just the wheel first. And then I'm like, no, that's weird. It just doesn't feel right. Then we made proper chainstays for it, adjusted the BB height correctly, and then everything felt like spot on.
Well, yeah, it's all iterated, like the C-tube angle and stuff like that. You can't just have a C-tube which is back down for the back wheel. So I'm wondering, guys, how do you actually live with yourselves the fact that you're presenting a new bike when all the time, you're already having a covert relationship with another model? How do you deal with that?
I would say that it's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to keep straight sometimes for sure, because you're talking about just like whatever may be in the works right now. And we're talking to you about something that's going to go live next week, so you just try not to mess up on camera. Try not to say anything about other stuff right now.
Even internally, it's really difficult because we have it's specialized the different gates, of people who can know, people who should not know. And even internal, it's sometimes really hard to go well, what are we talking about? Which mother? So hard sometimes. We just a week ago, Buck and I had a call with a couple of our educators globally, and he asked exactly the same question as I did. Hey guys, can you clarify what are we talking about? So before you say something, you basically go first hey, just want to make sure we're talking about that product, right? So Yeah.
Must be really hard to keep in tune of all that. Crikey, I didn't know there was. So how does the gate system work then? And how do you get from one gate to the other?
It depends on what group you're in. If you're sales, you're not supposed to know until the day it goes live.
Really?
Salespeople get to know really. They know earlier, but not as early as we do, of course. Not and then R&D, of course, all the way from the start. But then there's the the content creators. They know maybe a little bit before. There's just all those different people involved in the process. Supply chain, we involve earlier in the game. Sales, of course, last. I mean, they should be focused in selling what they know today, not tomorrow. So
there's one final question. In Croatia in 2018, Mike Sinyard said that particular Levo was Specialized's most important bike at the time. Does that still hold true for the current Levo?
For sure. Yep. Nothing's changed there.
Well, that was pretty black and white, wasn't
it? No, nothing has really changed ever. I mean, with that bike, with Croatia, first gen Levo was really good, really well received. The gen we launched in Croatia was even better. Amazing how well the bike did, and this one is the same thing.
Right, Marco, Joe, thanks for joining us. Can't wait to get riding on the bike. So tune into the video, which was out on the channel yesterday, for a look at the all-new Levo. Now, when I said 3 continents, I probably meant 4, because joining us now is Chris Smith from the continent of Somerset. Chris, the eagerly awaited Specialized Levo. Great chat there with Buck and Marco, 2 key characters in the Levo range from when it was first come to market back in 2015. Lots of talking points with this bike. I mean, first and foremost, maybe let's look at the pricing. Now, it seems to me that most of the pricing on the S-Works, the Pro and the Expert are in line with current prices. We do not know whether there will be alloy bikes to follow, but we're hoping that Specialized will continue to have a range which goes from, I think the current bike is £4,800 here in the UK, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting as well, because a lot of manufacturers are actually raising prices this year. So if Specialized are staying the same, good on them.
Yeah, and if you look at the S-Works bike, €13,000, that is a lot of money, but I'd be more concerned about the fact that you're seeing a lot of mountain bikes and road bikes, which are 5 figures these days as well, because, let's face it, an e-mountain bike can do so much more than one without a motor and battery, right?
Definitely, with all that kit as well, the software, the battery, the motor, you're getting so much more, and it opens up so many more possibilities, I guess, with the e-mountain bike.
Yeah, but folks, please get involved in some comments about the cost of e-mountain bikes. I'm sure ourselves and Specialized and all the other brands are keen to hear what you think about the current range of prices for e-mountain bikes. What we do know is that there are less expensive bikes on the market, and we've covered bikes from £500 upwards here on the channel many times. Now, moving on to probably one of the key changes to the Levo this year is the fact that it's got a wider range of sizes. It now goes from S1 to S6. Chris, I think the big news there, though, is that there's bikes there for riders 6 foot and up, right?
Definitely, yeah. I've normally in Specialized running the S4. I know I would have went for the sort of large size usually, but the S4 is their XL version, isn't it? And I felt a little bit out of place on that at first, but I think as I've got used to that bigger bike, I've actually found it way more stable and just as flickable. I know you always give me grief about choosing small size bikes to make them more nimble and more flickable in the air, but I'm with you on this one, James.
Now, a key part of the new Levo is the Mastermind display. It's got Gorilla Glass in it, Chris. I think that's going to be even Chris Smith bulletproof, right?
I was going to say, that can't be Steve Jones proof, Gorilla proof, right?
But yeah, I think, a lot of people will be concerned about the reliability of the displays and the motors on this new bike, but we're reassured by Marco and Buck that the new bikes are considerably improved in terms of the motor on the new ones. Nice. I can't wait to get rolling up in the hills on the Levo. What's your thoughts?
Well, I've always seen the Levo more as slightly of a cross-country / trail bike, but I think it's got a bit more aggro with it this time with the new release, so I cannot wait to get my hands on one. Maybe go up a size, get a bit more stable, but yeah, can't wait to hit the trails and the bike park on that bad boy.
Yeah, of course. Now with the 38 fork on there, it's certainly a bit of a brute. Folks, please let us know. Again, what do you think about the new Levo? I think it's a stunning looking bike, but obviously the pricing might worry people. And from taller riders out there, this is fantastic news, I'm sure. So let's know your thoughts in the comments below this video. Coming up on the channel this week, we've got your first off-road e-mountain bike ride on Friday. So obviously many of you will be new to e-mountain biking. Welcome to the channel, by the way, if you are. On Sunday, we've got a revised look at the Lapierre E-Zesty. That's a bike we rode in the south of France a few years ago, but it's now got an updated black pepper software, more power, more torque. It's actually a very different bike to the one we rode previously. And then on Monday, Chris, top 5 e-bike hacks, right? Yeah, so sharing you all those little hacks to get the most out of your e-bike, be it at home or out and about on the trails. Be sure to check that one out. Right, it's time for comments and questions from all the latest videos that we've done here on EMBN, and we've got a load of feedback from our recent show where we did the hottest e-bikes of 2021. So yes, Presty72 says it has to be the Scott Ransom E-Ride 920 for the spec, 180mm Z forks, serious bang for your buck, 5,495 euros. Yes, yeah, we did. As you mentioned, Presty mentioned we had a feature on the Brendan Fairclough's Scott Ransom for sure. Yeah. It could have been one. It certainly could have been one we had in our list. But we were trying to get like a taste, but just a bit of a chat, really, Chris, wasn't it?
Worldwide taste, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
MX Rider. He says you forgot the Alotech E-Fanes, probably the lightest e-mountain bike with aluminium frame, around 22.5 kilos, aggressive geometry, 170mm travel, and super short chain stays. Just a job for bike park use, and it also looks very erotic. I don't think we describe many bikes as erotic here on EMBN, do we, Steve?
Well, it's certainly a word that I do actually hear frequently from Chris Smith, but not on the show, I have to say. Yeah, the Alotech is a stunning looking bike. We actually featured the Alotech a few weeks ago here on the channel. 22.5 kilos, while the new Levo is about 22 kilos. Our Canyon Spectrals are around about 22 kilos. There's actually quite a few e-mountain bikes around that weight. And when it comes to short chain stays, well, I mean, chain stays and bottom brackets and suspension travel is a very personal thing. It depends on the type of riding you do, because if you want to climb super technical climbs, then maybe a longer chain stay is a good thing to have. And finally, Kazakh's Thrandual, who says, just like the Russian cosmonaut in Armageddon, who cares what brand it is? They're all made in Taiwan. Which is actually untrue. The first bike we featured on last week's show was the Kellys, which is actually manufactured in Belgium with that new manufacturing process. But it's true, a lot of bikes are built in the Far East, but we weren't looking at where they were actually manufactured. Obviously there's the design philosophy, there's the geometry, there's the features on a lot of these e-mountain bikes, which are quite personal to each of the brands. So, folks, apologies for not getting everybody in there, but it was just a taster of some of the beautiful, fantastic e-mountain bikes which are currently on the market.
Right, it's time for some fails and sends for this week's show, and we've got some great entries this week. Kicking things off, we've got this entry in from Davey. Now check this one out, Steve. Pretty smooth, isn't he, on those first tabletops? I think he's got it pretty dialed, his jump technique, and then...
We have some fun. We have some fun on the show. Looks like you guys have some fun on the trails as well.
I'm thinking it could be a soft takeoff there, maybe.
Hey, Chris, what about E-Ain, though? What about E-Ain? I mean, this is all time, right?
This is pretty big, isn't it?
It's really scary. It's a big old jump, Chris. And he gets...
Big jump, isn't it?
Gets cut up by a rider there. And I mean, all I can see is stars and stripes. I'm sure that's what Ian saw as well.
But I think it's good that he's dusted himself off and got up the hill and went and did it again, nice and smoothly. It's pretty nasty stuff, that. Big crash.
Utmost respect. And what about Paul out in New South Wales, Australia? Some big gaps here.
Yeah, he's definitely doing some big stuff. 55 years old, he says he can do loads of practice on his e-mountain bike. So he's going up and down the hill way more than he could on his mountain bike and getting those skills dialed, which I think, obviously, is one of those good things, isn't it?
Nice.
But look at that, some big stuff.
So there's some big stuff, some nice greenery there as well. Chris, those are some absolute diamonds, some nuggets, proper nuggets there this week in Sens Fails of the Month. Folks,
Definitely.
Folks, keep them coming, that's all I say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this shot from David on his Santa Cruz Bullet in Slick Rock actually is one of the finest pieces of video we've ever had on the channel. Massive. I want to be there. I just want to be there. Look at it. Look at it.
It looks amazing, doesn't it? I just want to get to a Slick Rock on an e-mountain bike. The grip level is going to be absolutely insane, and I think we could climb up some pretty near vertical faces there.
Yeah. Do you know what, Chris? It's funny that it's 5 years ago that I first rode the Specialized Levo. That was actually out on Slick Rock. And,
really?
Yeah, it was quite a time.
I've ridden it once, I think, back early 2000s, but just on a normal mountain bike, so it wasn't that great, but hell of a venue.
But now moving to somewhere a bit cooler. Blaenavon in Wales and Callum and his Cube Stereo Action Team. Yeah, Callum, I know that place pretty well. And next, returning to the Slick Rock, we've got the squirrel on the rock. It's Christine and her Levo in the desert of Utah. It is a desert, actually, because you can't really drink booze there, can you, Chris, in Moab?
I've no idea, Steve, about that.
Yeah. Christine.
An amazing shot, isn't it?
Christine, I thought you liked the booze. What are you doing in Slick Rock?
This one from Gary,
Joking.
down on the coast. He's on the north coast of sunny Jersey on his Santa Cruz Heckler mullet set up on this. Quiet early spring midweek ride. And look at that backdrop. Looks an amazing spot, doesn't he? Rich Payne used to, is it Jersey he used to live?
Right.
Regular out there.
Yeah. And what about Eddie and his Focus Jam Squared 2020 in Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park? Where could that be? Where could that be in the world, folks? Is that Thailand? Is it Japan? Anyway, his comment...
God's country, Sydney.
His comment is that he's buggered after a hard day on the tools. So why not wind down with a 30k ride up the road and into the bush for some peace and solitude? Eddie, nice. I love your thoughts. Love your thoughts.
And keep all those entries coming in. It's been a great week here on EMBN. We've had some solid photos and the videos. Keep them coming and using that upload service.
Huge respect, folks. Huge respect. Love it. Now, moving on to the eagerly awaited bike fold. And Gary seems to have got the wrong idea here. He says that... I know you usually feature pristine, clean machines in the bike fold. Absolutely not, Gary. We love to see bikes that are used in their proper environments. But this is Merida E160 in Morley in the UK. It's a bit dirty for a super nice. Only joking. Only joking.
Nice backdrop there, isn't it? Looks like an old castle wall or something. Nice.
Gary, we're going to give you super nice.
Whoa, next up, we've got the eyes on the prize here. This is Wolf with a Canyon Neuron on 2020 model out in Cork in Ireland. Still stuck away in lockdown in Ireland, exploring the city, so out for a bit of an urban ride. I'm liking that shot, actually. What do you think of that?
Come on.
Super nice.
Wolf's got it all. He's put the bike on a nice clean backdrop so you can see the bike.
Yeah.
I mean, the eyes, it's great, isn't it? It's
I
brilliant.
think it'd scare you off if you went to steal that bike, I think.
I ain't seen anybody dressed like that since I saw Chris Smith on our last road trip. Anyhow, Sam's Marin E1 in Duncan, BC. I'm liking that. I'm liking it.
It's a nice shot. I like the colour coding with the broom in the background on the flower bed.
But what about Nick? What about Nick's white E180 in Golden Valley come Khan?
Whoa.
It's got to be super nice, isn't it?
Got to be a super nice, isn't it? Look at that backdrop there and the sky. It just reminds me of summer. Look at this one from Jim, though. He's out in deepest Devon on his Cube Stereo 160, riding anywhere local to get my fix. I'm liking the look of that. What is that in the background?
It's
like a Highland cow, is it, or something?
Yeah, got the horn.
Got the horn
in the background. That bike's got the shine for sure. I think that's super nice for
Super
Jim.
nice.
I mean, look at this. Suncrest, Salt Lake City, Utah. That shows it's not all sun and dry rocks in Utah for sure.
Prime use for a fat bike there, isn't it? I think you'd be pretty stuck with without fat tyres on that. It looks like it's been right up over the rims in the snow.
Yeah.
Hell of a ride. What are you thinking? I think it's got to be a super nice, purely on that backdrop as well.
Yeah, super nice. Now this next shot is from David in Hamsterley Forest. I'd like to see this shot a bit more side on, Chris, because I think that Cube Stereo Hybrid, a lot of cubes in the bike vault, isn't there?
I like it.
Yeah.
He's got the e-bike rated stick holding that up. I think he's taking some inspiration maybe from the channel. See that sticking out?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a nice shot. I mean, the trouble with the bike vault is, I like to get the location, whereas you look at the next shot from James, his Track Rail 9 in Naiad Reservoir in the Brecon Beacons.
Yeah.
It's almost too much focused on the bike, but nevertheless, it's clean, isn't it? It's a clean shot.
It is a clean shot, isn't it? Really nice. Again, got that e-bike stick going on. Bit of background, bit of sky going on. I don't know, what are you thinking?
I'll leave it to you.
Super nice.
What about the Terry's Giant Trance on the Kent and Avon? Risky, Terry. Terry, you're risking it there.
Just floating out there. Hope you.
Do you know what? I wouldn't do that. Would you do that, Chris?
I actually did take a picture of my bike on the ice the other day. I was going to put it in for the on Instagram actually, but then I thought better of it, so I am guilty as charged.
But this is the classic. Listen to this from Terry. He says, he's basically obviously put this bike on the ice, and then in his own words, last ride near the frozen canal before back surgery. I mean, what if that bike went in the water? You'd need more than back surgery.
And the last entry in the bike vault is from Craig Stickman. So I think you know this guy, right, Steve?
Stickman, what a legend. Now, Stickman, as you can see, Stickman has got history on the lens, on the camera. So beautifully constructed shot here. Former World Cup downhill mechanic and now the head honcho at Troy Lee Designs. And the guys at Troy Lee Designs actually are very keen e-mountain bikers. It's a beautiful shot. I mean, Stick, gotta say, it's a super nice shot and it's so nice to see you enjoying. Where is that, Chris?
Anaheim, Steve. Anaheim Hills, apparently.
Anaheim Hills. And that is it for this week's Bike Vault. I think it goes without saying that Stickman has got to be the bike of the week, right?
Definitely. It's a hell of a shot, isn't it? With that flag going, backdrop.
We didn't even say what bike it was.
Mondraker Crafty with a SRAM AXS kit on there, obviously. Nice looking bike that, and a hell of a shot. But keep all those entries coming into us here on the Bike Vault. See if you're going to get a nice or super nice, or maybe take that bike of the week. But thanks for watching, and of course, get involved in the comments box down below. Yes, indeed. The Specialized Levo, folks. Eagerly awaited. It's the third iteration of the bike, first launched in 2015. Like Chris said, we're eager to get rolling on them, and we're eager to know your thoughts on the prices, the sizes, the reliability, and of course, that new Mastermind display. Can't wait.